Hey, Jeff Howard here at Kiteboarding.com, and we've had a few issues that are happening out there, and it usually happens in nearly gusty conditions or someone that's learning the sport, an intermediate or something like this. Now, what it's called is foul hooking, and a lot of people maybe have never even heard of it, but it happens, and we want to make sure to try to eliminate it as much as possible. Now, what is foul hooking? Foul hooking is what happens when your chicken loop, when it's hooked into your bar, such as this, and you put in your lock tube, and for some reason or another, from tensioning in on the bar or how you launch, you pull in on the chicken loop and it gets twisted or off-sided from the hook on your harness, such as this. You can see it here. And what happens is this will take load right now. Once that kite gets above my head, goes under full load, the possibility of this slipping off and releasing out from under without you noticing. That is called a foul hooking. Now, one of the main reasons this happens is, and I'll tell you, it happens to about every chicken loop that's out there, the possibility of it happening. So a lot of people come in and they'll say, oh, this brand or that brand. It's not the brand, it's how you hook up the system and how you manage it. So what I want to show you and describe to you, so when you go to launch, it's very important, obviously, in high winds, gusty winds, and everything else. And the reason is because when you're launching a kite out and a person is holding the kite at the end, in most cases, if you're not at the right angle of attack, that kite is not under load. So what you do is you simply look down like this, your kite's down there, you look at this, and now you forget about this and you go to your bar. So you're looking down at your kite, and what may happen is that the kite is not under full load. So you can see that there is no tension here on the chicken loop yet. So you're not paying attention to it, or a friend comes up, whatever it may be. But when you're launching, when you have the bar, what'll happen is you're pulling in like this. What'll happen is you see how that chicken loop gets pushed in and unhooked from the hook, but you're not paying attention to that. So what happens is all of a sudden under load, you tension the front lines, and that chicken loop seats in just off of the hook, such as that. Now you're paying attention. It's taking the load of the kite launching, no problem at all. Then when you launch the kite, it goes under load, and this simply quickly slips off of here. Under high load, it will unlock that tube, and all of these are made really good. Almost every single brand now has a good, stiff, hard lock tube here, and it's very important that you get that seated in there. But main thing to do, remember, once you get your kite under load, is I always like to hold that load, make sure I change my angle of attack with no bar pressure at all. But I sit here and make sure I check my loop is locked in, I got my kite under complete pressure, ready to launch, which means the angle of the kite is in the correct position, ready to launch. Quickly do a double check. Grab your bar, do not pull in against it. Keep that tension on that chicken loop at all times. Check it again, look up, launch your kite. It's very important. We've had some people do this, and in most cases it was very gusty, very punchy type winds, and they were trying to adjust their angle of attack and not paying attention to look down at your gear. So make sure to do that. If you keep tension on the chicken loop, you're not going to have a problem with foul hooking. If you're going to pay attention to it when you get ready to launch, you're not going to have a problem with it. So that's Jeff Howard here at Kiteboarding.com. Just want to bring up an issue and make sure you check your gear and equipment before you launch and inspect everything. You don't want those failures. We don't want anybody hurt. Have a great time out on the water. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call.